as you could tell, I can go on when I'm on a roll. Sometimes it's hard to stop me. I want to check in with you though. How are you feeling, and how is this landing for you? And do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I really appreciate your answer. I've got a lot of inquiry questions kind of swimming around at the moment. And one that's kind of right at the top is to do with devotion, because the path that I'm involved with, they're encouraging, and in a really gentle way, encouraging more and more devotion to the root teacher, who is a recognized Nyingma and Kagyu lineage holder. She's bringing it forward in a way that's, there's just so many ways it's been modernized, post-modernized even. But the thing for me is how this relates to this individual autonomy, this unique self that I've also heard you talking about. This is not clear, and what I'm noticing is that I've heard so many spiritual teachers talk, and there's just so many different ways of viewing it. These people, you know, there's a sense, well, you know, I want what this person has, but there's so much out there, and I can feel like the thinking mind is totally incapable of making a comparison, because there's just too much there, and I don't, for the most part, indulge that because I can see it doesn't work. But is there a feeling sense around, I want to be devoted to this teacher in this way? Is it that I feel like I really want what it is that they're offering? Because I'm also feeling this now towards Samuel and towards you with the training, and it's kind of, and I don't want to slip into the spiritual window shopping kind of smorgasbord thing either. Yeah, so there's no question except just that.
I hear you.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I can talk a little bit about it if you'd like. Would you like me to talk a bit about that?
I'd love you to, yeah.
The first thing I'll say is that it's really, whatever I say, it won't amount to an answer. It can't, because it's got to be, it's akin to saying, oh, I'm falling in love. You think this is the right woman for me? No, it's no. But I can speak around for me, how it is for me, okay? I mean, because Papaji is my master, and when I say that, it doesn't mean, obviously, that I haven't had devotional relationships with, well, it doesn't mean, obviously, that I'm only hooked to that particular kind of teaching, or that I have no value from, I have other teachers as well. Ken Lloyd Russell, who has passed on, was very, very instrumental in my life. I don't know that I could say that I was in a devotional relationship to him. In some ways I was at certain points in my life. Certainly I've had devotional feelings towards Samuel at certain points in my life. I've had definite devotional relationships toward Tibetan lamas. I have a very, very, very strong devotional feeling, sense, connection to the Nyingmapa lineage and Padmasambhava. For me, and this is, this is why you can't really advise anybody about this, really, because it's something where you need to stumble yourself to find your sea legs with it. You will probably, I don't know if you will or not, but it's okay if you do, find that you make mistakes in terms of devotion, or that you're not devoted where you could be, or you're overly devoted where you shouldn't be. That comes with the territory. It is very similar to relationships. You may overlove, give yourself away, and then it becomes more clear for you about how to love. The thing about it is that, from my perspective, and it's taken me a long time for this kind of, I experienced it as a revelation in my life, that the way devotion works for me, or as I understand it. which is that there's a lot of different language, there's a lot of different words, and they're so charged and they're so sectarian that it's hard. I feel like I have to come up with new language. It's like the word God, it's hard thing for some people even hear. If I say God, that big mean guy that I don't believe in anymore, that one. I was like, no, not that one, but there is, and in different traditions, I actually think there's an echo of this in different traditions, but it's a strange thing. Ramana Maharshi, he's 17 years old. He has his realization at his uncle's house, and he doesn't have any reason really, because he's awake now. Everything's this, he's consciousness itself. It doesn't matter where he goes, what he does. So he continues to, he's living at his house with his family, but he hears his uncle talking about this place, Arunachala, and there's a kindling in his heart, and there's a feeling that he needs to go there, and he thought it was like a heaven realm, so he didn't think it was an actual place, and then he hears from someone it's an actual place. And here he is, already in a non-dual state. He's already awake. There's no good reason, from a purely Advaitic language teaching thing, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, everything's the self, right? Shiva's everything, or everything is equally the same thing. So why would he have to leave his thing? Well, he does. He feels this pull to go to this mountain, which is his guru, and he writes love poetry or devotional hymns to this mountain. And he spends the rest of his life within, I don't remember what the mile is, but he's really clear about only so many miles from the mountain. This is his heart. This is where he spends his life. And he's in devotion to this. And he, is related to this mountain as God, which is what some people do there. What is that? And then Papaji used to say, it's the self. You're in devotion to the self, and the self led him. Same thing with Papaji. There's all kinds of devotional stories about how, the biggest one is how he was led to Ramana Maharshi by this mysterious visitation with Ramana Maharshi, and he was led there. Well, what's doing the leading? What is that? Oh, the self. Well, if you look at how Advaita speaks about the self, it doesn't change, it doesn't move, it isn't the doer of anything. So that doesn't make any sense if you go by the book of what the self is supposed to be. So from my perspective, I started recognizing that there's this other self. And you've heard me speak about this probably if you listen to my stuff on YouTube, that there's this other self, which is a sort of, you can think of it as an emanation from the self. You can think of it as your higher self that isn't consciousness, unmoving, unchanging consciousness, but is a dimension, your future self. A lot of this is actually in Western mystical traditions. I didn't know that until I started experiencing it and feeling it. The closest thing I had was like, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Tibetan stuff. I couldn't really figure, what is my guide? It sounded so New Agey, and I didn't like all that New Agey guide stuff. I was Buddhist, like, how could this, and then I was Advaitin, New Age, the Buddha, my guide. Well, but it's my higher self. There is Western tradition, Western occult traditions, Sufi traditions, Gnostic traditions, ancient Greek traditions that talk about this. Your daimon. And, the Christians freaked out about it, that you had an individual guide. They didn't like that. So they talked about demon possession. It's very weird. But you have to be brave. We are all rebels. All of that stuff, all of the conditioning of, oh my goodness, can I follow my own guidance? What if it's not the right guidance? All of that is very connected to this about all teachers. What if I get exploited? What if it's cultic tendencies? I mean, there's a documentary right now about a famous teacher. We all know who I'm talking about. How I Created a Cult. Watch it. There's a great video on Netflix called, what's it called? What's it? Oh, jeez. Now I'm forgetting it.
Holy Hell.
That's it. Thank you, Dan. Holy Hell. Yeah, Holy Hell. About what happens. From my perspective, my inner teacher, there's an interesting thing in one of the books on Tibetan Buddhism I read, it says, one Lama had said, whenever you call on Padmasambhava, a Padmasambhava will come to you. In the Tibetan traditions, all the Buddhist traditions and Mahayana Buddhist traditions in India, there's these images, and in the Hindu traditions too, of like, Amitabha's there, and then from his heart come 50,000 Amitabhas, and then each Amitabha radiates another 50,000, and they're in each different place, on each realm, and then each of them radiates a Kuan Yin, and each of those Kuan Yins radiate another Kuan Yin, and then a Tara, and then, so it's levels, similar to hierarchies of angels within angels, hierarchies. But the point of it is they all trace back to source. They all trace back to this main source. So you follow your inner guidance, and to be in devotion to your inner Padmasambhava it's a Padmasambhava beyond the Padmasambhava of the tradition. It's a secret Padmasambhava. It's your secret master. It's your own self at some level. To be in devotion to that one can and will, if you feel led to be with a certain teacher and you feel a devotional feeling, follow that, but knowing you are in relationship to that energetic presence. You're in relationship to the transmission, and you're thankful to the physical body from which that transmission comes, but you're developing a relationship to that transmission. And if that person should be disappointing in some way, or even if they're not, but you simply don't feel the connection anymore, thank you very much. I honor all my past teachers. Doesn't mean I always agree with what they say. It doesn't mean that all of their behavior has been exemplary or perfect. Nevertheless, what I'm doing when I'm with each of my teachers, which each of the sources of transmission, is developing my relationship to that inner guide, to the goddess, to Padmasambhava, to Jesus Christ. You can use any name. In there's a Sufi teaching around this that where it's kind of like each Christian has their own Jesus Christ. Because the way in which you experience Jesus, if you're a Christian, is going to be unique. Of course, they don't, many churches, they don't like that, because it's like, no, then we can't we can't tell you what Jesus is really like. But you see, like, what you're doing is you're developing a devotional relationship that transcends and includes any tradition that you feel drawn to. Ultimately, it's you and the Holy Spirit. Ultimately, it's you and your own angel, your guardian angel, your holy guardian angel. Ultimately, it's you and your own Ishta Devata, your own chosen deity. Whoever it is, it's your higher self, you could say, because it is a dimension of you that is present now, that is your full sense of yourself when you're the all. And as a partial person, you open up to that one and you bow. You can call it God Almighty, you can call it the goddess. Language is not the thing. But for you to recognize that you are developing first and foremost a relationship with that who transcends all of your teachers. And that's who your teachers are a manifestation of in particular times. That teacher uses them as long as that transcendent teacher uses them. And as long as it does, thank you. And when it doesn't, yes, thank you too, because I honor you for being an important person in my life. It's very similar to the 21st century way in which we relate to lovers. Now you may find, I finally found someone and I am now going to live with them for the rest of my life, or make a commitment ceremony, or get married, as I have. Beautiful. But that doesn't mean that every relationship I've had before was like a failure, or that I got to diss everybody who I was involved with before. That's insane. In fact, each of the people that I related to, I thank, because I opened up, I made my mistakes, and also I made not only mistakes, but I developed so deeply with those people. I opened up, I became more loving, I became more there, more present as a result in many of my relationships. So now it's here. And it may be that Vivian and I are together forever, my partner. It may be that we pass out of existence exactly at the same moment. Or it may be that one, myself or her, pass on before the other. We always are in relationship with that inner beloved. That is who we should always be in relationship with. Whether you think of it as your deepest self, whether you think of it, however you think of it, that's not even relevant. That's totally yours. That's yours to struggle with, yours to feel into, yours to name. The beloved is the self. The beloved is emptiness. The beloved is consciousness itself. The beloved is the goddess, whatever. But your beloved, that is the one. Papaji, who was very much, he was a very devotional person. I mean, he was very much involved with devotion to the god Krishna. And then later, he was very devoted to Ramana Maharshi as well. And he would always say, it's the self that I'm in devotion to. Many people were in devotion to him. He would accept the devotion. I bowed at his feet. I feel his love in my marrow. I feel his presence with me, inherent to my own sense of presence. And he said, don't ever, he contradicted himself, but his contradictions were paradoxes. They were more than contradictions. Don't ever give your devotion to a person, to anybody. That's not the proper place for that. You will always be disappointed if that's where you do it. So even when I was devoted to Papaji, I was devoted to my own self. And that's what he insisted on when he spoke about it. So you're with this teacher, if this teacher or any teacher speaks to your heart, and you can have many people that you feel devotion with them, because it's that one in all these forms. You're opening up to that one, because every teacher will fail you. In that sense, there's a way in which every teacher will fail you. And if you hold this, then there's a way in which no teacher ever fails you. You learned exactly what you needed to learn. You got exactly what you needed to get. So thank you for asking that question, Mark. Question. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Krishna. So helpful.
And I think with that, we will thank you for satsang, everybody. With that, we'll end satsang. Thank you very much. And thank everybody here. My own website is krishnasatsang.com. So you can go there for more information. I do also do I do private sessions if you ever find that you yourself moved to want to work with me. And there's more information on krishnasatsang.com. I'm in in the midst of writing a book now on the Tapestry of Being teachings. There's a bit about the Tapestry of Being teachings and Trillium Awakening on my website. There's also the Trillium site for that. I'm also working on an upcoming new website, which will be tapestryofbeing.org. So more to come. Stay tuned. If you'd like to be on my mailing list, if you go on to my website, on the first page of the website, there's a place where you can put your information there, and be happy to let you know. So thank you very much. And Sarah, if there's anything else more to say, I'll leave it to you.
Thanks. Yeah, if you want any more, if you want to get on our mailing list on nondualcenter.org, on the first page, there's a place to get on our mailing list as well. We do one of these hosted evenings every month. We either have a featured teacher do a satsang, and every other month we're going to have what we're calling non-duality in action. So it's one of our members that's doing something, taking these teachings and this awareness into other communities that wouldn't normally get them, like counseling communities, high schools, things like that. So we're watching this just move and flower. Go ahead, Krishna.
I just wanted to say, I really thank you. I really want to thank the Center for Non-Dual Awareness. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
A great organization, and I thank you for hosting me tonight.
Yes, thank you. We're going to be doing a lot more of these things, so go ahead and sign up on our mailing list, nondualcenter.org. You can email me, Sarah, at nondualcenter.org if you have any questions or want to talk or are interested in membership. I can tell you a lot more about what you get for being a member and what that's all about. And if you want to donate to us, a little organization, also on our website, there's a donate button. So I'm going to just open up here. Next month, we have a woman named Caverly Morgan. She'll be doing a non-duality in action. She does peace in schools in Portland. So she's kind of teaching the foundation of things, actual curriculum in high schools now. So really exciting to get the download on that. She's a beautiful teacher and beautiful work that's happening. So
really beautiful work.
Yeah,
that's happening. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing what you're doing to bring awareness to kids in school.
Yeah, and that it's a full-on. It's not an after-school program. It's actually like an accredited class in a high school, and it's transforming these kids' lives, and it's spreading into a lot of high schools now. So it's, really healing too for us as adults to hear about that work and be like, oh, wow, like if we had gotten this at that age, it's really actually pretty cool. So,
and I believe it's the only at this point, it was true when I heard last, the only accredited course on mindfulness taught in high schools anywhere in the country.
Yeah, that was the last I heard too. That was in June. Yeah. So get on our mailing list for that, and I'm going to send out an email about the information that's going to be on November 10th, I think, that Thursday, but get on our mailing list, do an email about it. Yeah, it's so beautiful to see everyone here. I'm going to unmute everyone, and if you want to just say goodbye and hello. Lot of noise, and then I'll be
Bye. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.
beautiful night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Krishna.
Hello.
I don't think we called.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was real. This is the most people we've had.
How many people were there?
You know, I wish I could. It didn't tell me exactly how many. Oh, at the top, I never looked up there. I'm going to say at least 50. At least.
Right, right. I was new to being able to work the technology, so I couldn't see. Were all the faces available somehow?
Yes, they were. If you came, yeah, I explained that at the beginning. So up in the